Rabbi Edwan asked us to talk a few minutes about our history. So my subject is Haji Adonia. I don't know if you've been to Jerusalem. There is a synagogue in the Bukhari section called Haji Adonia. It's still running. But anyway, let me tell you the story. I have to give you the background first. The Jewish people were brought to Mashhad by Nader Shah in 1743. It's 18th century, which is about 300 years ago. So 4 years later, 1747, they assassinated the king. They assassinated Nader Shah. So all these Jewish families who'd come from Qazvin or wherever they came from, they were left in Mashhad with no protection because Mashhad is a Shiite fanatic city. So these Jews, from 1747, they were left in that city with no protection, and the Muslims did whatever they couldn't. They couldn't run businesses. They couldn't walk in front of the Muslim. They couldn't have a higher house than Muslim. They couldn't buy anything. They had a lot of problems. This went on for about 100 years. 1839, the Muslims attacked the Jewish community. They killed 34 people, and they said, either we become Muslim or we kill the rest of you. They didn't know what to do. So they said, okay, we'll become Muslim. So a few of the older people went to the mosque, they read something, they became Muslim. So from then on, from 1839 onwards, they were Jadid al-Islam, that means new Muslim. So they were Muslims for another 100 years. So, but during this time, they kept everything inside Jewish. And it's a long story how they did it. But anyway, for 100 years they were together like this. That's why we are like this. That's why we are here. Because we are all related together. We are all together. We are psychologically and mentally and physically we are together. So anyway, so during this period is called Al-Adad. That means judgment of God. So during this period, because they became Muslims, so they were allowed to have businesses. Businesses, you do business, you make money. So in the Muslim religion, if you are well-to-do, if you're making good money, you're some businessman, you're a merchant, you have to go to Mecca and become Hajj. You do the Hajj, you become Haji. So during this time, many Mashadi Jewish people went to the Mecca and they became Haji. So, and most of them, it's another big story, they took tefillin with them, they took sisik with them, they were wearing tefillin under their turbans, even in Mecca. And there was this family, Hacohen family. They were called Aharonov, Cohen. This was a father, Aharon, and he had 5 sons. All of them went to Israel, went to Mecca, and all became Haji. Most people who went to Mecca, after Mecca, they made their way to Jerusalem. But this family, they went back to Iran again. And these 5 brothers, there are 5 brothers, and the oldest one was Adonia. At this time, he was now Haji Adonia. He unfortunately didn't have any children. He had many children, but they didn't survive. So he told his brothers, look, I don't have any children. I don't want to stay here anymore. I want to go to Jerusalem. So he went to Jerusalem. He bought a piece of land in Shokunat Bukhari, which is the Bukharian section. This is late 1800s, 1890, 1895. We don't know exactly when. He bought a piece of land in this Shokunat Bukhari. At that time, Shokunat Bukhari was out of place. People said, are you crazy? Why are you buying it here? No, he said, I want to buy it here. So anyway, he bought this piece of land. And on that piece of land, he built 10 apartments. And on top of the apartments, he built a Bet Knesset. And next to Bet Knesset, he made a hall. The 10 apartments were for people who came from Iran, immigrants. When they came from Iran, they didn't know where to go. They didn't have any money. They didn't know what to do. So he would give them these apartments, so they lived there until they found their way. By the way, going from Iran to Israel at that time, it took at least 3 months. Minimum 3 months, maybe more. So he let these apartments to these people for free, and upstairs they had a synagogue. And this synagogue is still running today. Until maybe 20, 30 years ago, we had a lot of Mashadis living in that area, but now there's only a few people living in the area, but it's controlled by Mashadis. There are some Mashadis who run the place there, and if you ever go to Israel, go to Haji Adonia, and see this magnificent place, and it's been renovated and it's still providing services and the apartments downstairs. There's another synagogue called Haji. That's another story, but we don't have time for that one. But this is Haji Adonia. He did a very a good chesed, good deed, and today we are still enjoying his hard work.